Hey gents, today we're talking about the best body hair trimmers. I wanted to show up dressed for the occasion, and I did my best to shoot this video in a YouTube friendly format, but if skin makes you uncomfortable, you've been warned. So I'll go through recommendations on what to look for while you are shopping, because there are a ton of options out there. I'll go through the best 5 trimmers for the money based on my research and my experience. I'll also have timestamps and links to everything below. None of this is sponsored. I do use affiliate links that supports the channel to get you the best information that I can bring across all these brands. So let's start with the best 5 trimmers for your money based on the features, price, and the overall experience of using it. And number 1 is going to be the Brio Beardscaped. This one comes in at $70, so not the least expensive, but not the most expensive in this roundup. And there's a few key features on why this trimmer is so good. Number 1 is the flexibility. So you can use this for very close shaves, and you can actually micro adjust the clippers here, which is the only trimmer I have used which has this great one. And you only really see this in some of the higher end trimmers when you're looking at the $200 price range. So this is a very nice feature. This also has one of the best batteries across all of these. I've only had to charge this once, and I've used this for over a year because it has, and this is another great feature, variable speed rates that is indicated by this LED. So you can do faster or slower. You'd want to do slower based on some sensitive areas, which is nice, but then speed it up if you're just working on your beard. It also has ceramic blades, a nice level of attachments. It comes with a dock, a charger. It's overall a really, really nice package for $70. I also do like the heft to it. It's kind of big, so you know, especially if you have bigger hands, this is going to be really good. If you have smaller hands, it feels like it's substantial. Caveat to this, it is not waterproof, but we'll talk about my thoughts on waterproofing when I talk about recommendations as you're shopping. Number 2, and this was kind of a surprise for me because when I was ordering it, I literally laughed at the ridiculousness of it, but it is the Phillips Norelco body trimmer. This comes in at $60 and it's double-sided. So it has one side, which is really good for like beard trimming or for adjusting. You can see the micro adjustments here for how long you want it, 6 to 11. And this attachment is, you never lose it. You don't have to worry about additional ones. But then it also has a foil trimmer on this side, which is the only trimmer in this roundup, which will give you skin close shaves without having to go to a razor. And it also has a nice flexible head. It's also waterproof, has a good battery, and for $60, this is a really good trimmer. So you can do some of the, you know, heavier manscaping with the trimmer blade here, but then hit it with the foil, go completely down to the skin if that's what you're looking for. And I just found this to be just a really overall good one. Now, I will say the only time I did experience razor bumps was when I used the foil trimmer in the shower, but that was the case across all of them. And so this might differ for everybody, but for me, when I used the trimmers when it was wet and using water, it was harder to trim the body hair and I was getting razor bumps. So we're gonna revisit that in a minute. But overall, I think if you're looking for a great, this was a surprise to me because I laughed at it when I ordered it. So that's the Phillips Norelco, $60. Number 3, we have this Panasonic trimmer, which is a wet dry trimmer, and it has the most unique design out of all of these. The other ones have, you know, like the flat blades, but you can see in the blade guard here, it has, you know, the blades in there. You can take this off to go very close. This will get you basically a skin close shave, but this is the only trimmer that I felt good putting, you know, like if you've got the shape here, right? You just rub in here, shave whatever you want, and it is a wet dry. The handle, it doesn't feel as nice as the other 2 trimmers I just talked about in this price range, but the battery is fine, it feels good to use, has enough speed, and overall, I think this was just one of the better ones out of everything that I've tested so far. Number 4 is the Manscaped 2.0 trimmer, not the 3.0 trimmer, for a couple of reasons. Number 1, this now is available for $50 versus the full price of the third one, which makes this a great deal. And especially if you're just getting into this category, I think this is a really nice entry point and a step up from what I've experienced in the $20 to $30 trimmer range. If you're comparing the 2.0 to 3.0, I think that the features of the 3.0 are very nice as far as the better battery, which was my biggest problem with it. With the 2.0, they increased the speed of the rotor. This one was like water resistant at least. The other one is waterproof. Again, I don't think that's a huge make or break. But I think if you're trying to get into this category, this is a nice small trimmer that's out there now. You can buy it anywhere. You can buy it at Target. You can buy it basically anywhere for $50. I think this is a better buy for the money when you compare those two. Now it is the number 4 in this category, so I would recommend those first 3 over this one. But I think if you're looking at the Manscaped trimmers, if you're comparing it by price, I think the 2.0 is better per dollar, but the 3.0 is obviously an improvement on the 2.0. Hope that makes sense. And yeah, they added a flashlight to the 3.0. It is nice that the trimmer heads are the same for these, so if you did subscribe to the 2.0 trimmer heads. The 3.0 works just fine. They did improve the attachment style of the 3.0. So I think it is an improvement on the second one, but I think for the money, 2.0. And rounding out the top 5 is going to be the Brio Axis trimmer. So we're coming back to Brio, and this basically takes the features of the full-size beard one and packs it in here mainly on the battery technology. The battery on this does last really well. It's not as powerful as the Beardscape one, but it is a little bit smaller. So if you're looking for something the size of the Manscaped, and it does have enough attachments on here to make the adjustments, and this coming in at $40 really competes with the Manscaped for, if you want to spend about 50 bucks, then this is a really close one. The only reason I would do the Manscaped over this one is because of the waterproofing, because if you do use this in a scenario where you could drop it and it could hit the water, I would feel better about the Manscaping one surviving that versus the Brio Axis. So that's like my only caveat. However, for 40 bucks, this is an amazing buy and a great way to get into this category. Just based on the build quality, the cut, the battery, this is a really, really nice trimmer for 40 bucks. And now for a few notes on what to look for as you are shopping for these trimmers. There are a ton of brands on Amazon that will make a trimmer. I don't know where the brand comes from or any of that sort of feature. I would try and avoid those because you don't know what kind of batteries are in there, and especially if you're taking the stuff to sensitive areas. I would at least go with a trusted brand, not some fly-by-night Amazon brand. We are taking this to sensitive areas, and you don't want to do that. I'd say a big consideration as well is if you're looking at battery versus powered. You are going to get a better, cleaner trim with a powered trimmer, but that also usually means higher RPMs and a faster motor, which also means if you're in delicate areas, I don't know that you want that power. So that's why I wouldn't use these body trimmers for your hair necessarily. If you want like a really nice hair or beard trimmer, powered ones are usually gonna be better, but if you just want something for some quick and dirty manscaping, these battery powered ones are usually smaller, they can get into smaller places, and they're not as powerful, which is actually a feature compared to those high powered plug-in ones. Number 2 is around waterproofing. A lot of these trimmers tout the fact that they are waterproof, which is a nice feature because a lot of this stuff happens in the tub, the shower, or by a sink. So if you have any accidents, then that's good. I'd say the caveat to that is that in my experience, when your hair is wet, it becomes harder to trim, and the only time that I would end up getting some kind of razor bumps on my chest or anywhere that I would shave, it was when I was doing it while wet. And so because the hair ends up tugging more, it's just not the best way to do it. And so while the waterproofing feature is a nice to have, I would not consider that a critical part of looking for a body hair trimmer because you don't typically want to do this when wet anyway. Now for the motor speed and for the no nicks, the big thing that Manscaped really highlights is the fact that you can't get nicked, and a lot of these razors actually have that already built into them. They show how you can like push it into the side of your hand and you don't get nicked. The Brio, the Axis, all of these trimmers typically have enough of a leeway in there that you won't get nicked. And on top of that, Manscaped has a guarantee that you won't get nicked, and I can guarantee you that I have been nicked by the Manscaped razor, so it can't happen if you're not careful. The idea here is just be a little bit more careful. You can tell the ones you'll get nicked by, like this Phillips one here, you're gonna go right into the blade here. So depending on the allowance of the blade, you're gonna notice which ones will trim you. The way that Manscaped accomplishes that is you can see in the ceramic blade, there's just a little bit of daylight between the edge of the guard and where the trimmer actually moves. And so what that does accomplish is keeping you free from nicks, but it also can end up leaving stubble, which is where the Norelco would come in handy, so you could trim with this side and then go down to skin with the foil side. Last tip while you're shopping is around attachments and the idea that more is not always better. This Man Groomer trimmer came with a ton of attachments. It's just like a bag that's full of stuff. You only end up using 1 or 2 of them, and you don't need a dozen different lengths unless you are a professional hairstylist or a barber, and in that case, go to a professional. Also, you'll see this in some of the lower end ones that are like, under $50. This is one of my wall ones that came with a foil attachment, like an eyebrow nose attachment. It came with a bunch of, a lot of this stuff just isn't used. It's a way to perceive that you're getting more than what you pay for. Because in the wall one, the idea is, right, you buy this one, you could manscape with it, you could trim your hair, you could use the foil shaver for your face, but it's better to have a dedicated tool for each of those. It's better to have a foil trimmer for your face that's just really well made to take care of that. It's better to have a smaller trimmer that isn't so loud and aggressive for the manscaping. And so when you see these trimmers that just have a ton of attachments, I'd be wary of those overall, because as I've tried a couple of those, it just doesn't end up being a benefit. And I also want to make sure I talk about the one blade, because I did order the Phillips one blade, the green one. And while that trimmer is really nice, and I really like using it for my face actually, the one blade is not a great manscaping trimmer because it is too small and kind of dainty for trimming most hair. I've used it now more on my face than I did on my body, and the attachments leave a lot to be desired. The same thing, this is like the body style of the one blade, and this brings me to my battery comparison thing, because you could also make the argument that when you're gonna buy a trimmer, you want something with a replaceable battery, because if anything's gonna go bad, it's gonna be the battery. And I just find, this one it's waterproof, it has a little handle so you can use and everything, but I found this to be so flimsy overall and just not well made. I think it's made to be like 35 or 40 bucks. But like I actually broke one of the attachments just trying to take it off gently. Like I do this stuff all the time. The problem with Wahl and Phillips, and I've talked about this before with my original Wahl trimmer where I think it was $20 and it has this rubberized handle to it, but then hair sticks to it and dirt sticks to it, and it got really gross really fast. And so some of these major brands where you can buy something from $20 and then Wahl makes trimmers for a couple $100s in the professional space, you got to be kind of careful of what trade-offs are you making to hit a certain price. And that's why I'm not that surprised that a lot of these trimmers that are really good values are in that $50 to $70 range, because ultimately you always get what you pay. I'm gonna go take care of this blonde hair, this mustache, come back to normal here. Got some more videos in the works for you. As always, I love your feedback, comments, brand suggestions, questions. That always drives these videos. So I really appreciate you guys chiming in. I'll be down in the comments as always. You can also reach out at @_Kavalier on Twitter and Instagram. I'll see you guys over there. Until next time, gents, this is the Kavalier. So let's start with features, price, and experience.